What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is Around the VLA presented by the Volleyball League of America. My name is Rob St. Clair. That is Vince Zanzuki. We are back, and it is championship season. The regular season in the Volleyball League of America has wrapped up. Vince, I was just looking at our database earlier. We've played 149 matches this year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
149 matches this year, and it's come down to two more tournaments. We're crowning champions in both VLA Tier 1 and Tier 2. So Tier 2 championships coming up this weekend. We want to preview that, explain how that tournament is kind of going to work, and then we will be crowning a champion this week, and that will be a huge step towards Tier 2 to Tier 1 promotion, like we've talked about all year long. So it's been an unreal season, and we're coming down to the very end of it here. So Vince, welcome. I'm glad to be back stateside. I know you've had a busy couple of weeks, so a couple more things for the VLA before it is finally the off season for us, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of things kind of climaxing right now. I mean, coming off the VLA Cup and the end of the regular season, now moving into the championships. I think that it's been a very successful season so far, so we're ready to cap it all off with what we've got coming up.
Yes, we are. And the first of those two championship sort of events is Tier 2 championships this weekend. The teams Chicago Swede, Milwaukee Dive, Eastside Cleveland, and the 630 Slunkers. We'll talk about the standings in just a minute, but going down this weekend, June 18th and 19th in suburban Chicago, northwest suburb of Crystal Lake at Sky High Volleyball Center. So these four teams, three of them pretty local. Or at least from around the Midwest, and a drivable for Team ECV. They will be coming in on Friday night and doing battle on Saturday and Sunday to decide who gets one more cup win in the Tier 2 standings. Here are the final Tier 2 standings after all the VLA Cup and all the crazy number of matches played. So the way this kind of worked is we went down the line in terms of the Tier 2 overall rankings and gave out invites to this event. Some teams were accepting, some teams weren't able to make it or chose not to for one reason or another. So first and foremost, first invite went out to Ruckus for winning 2 cup tournaments. And then the second invite went out to Emiola for winning 1 cup tournament, but having more points than ECV, who also won 1 cup tournament. Those two teams both have some sponsorship obligations this weekend and weren't able to make the trip from the West Coast, so they will not be around. The next team on the list was Team ECV, who won the East Division Cup in Buffalo, and they accepted that invite, so they will be here. Then after that, it went just based on points this season, not cumulative points, but points this season. So Milwaukee Dive and Chicago Swede were next up on the highest teams in terms of points earned this season, both of whom accepted. Next team after that was the River City Flow with 32 points. They could not make this trip. They have already traveled a lot this season, including to Chicago once already. So they chose not to. I mean, we've talked about Sam Alvis and his guys before. They've got a ton of talent, just not quite ready to make the jump yet in terms of the travel schedule. So no River City Flow. And then the next let's see, who else did we invite? New York Pride came after that. They with 14 points, they weren't quite able to make the trip. And then the 630 Slunkers after that with 12 points, they were because they're local. So that is the field for Tier 2 championships. Vince, anything to add to that?
No, I think you pretty much knocked that one out of the park, but pretty much just went down the line, offering to the tier 2 teams that were interested. We know that, like you said, there are a few teams that are ranked fairly high that kind of new and aren't exactly interested in the promotion this season. Like you mentioned, River City Flow. They've definitely been adamant about the fact that they aren't quite prepared for that tier 1 level of schedule. So. I think that did come into consideration for a few of the teams, but yeah, no, it's going to be a great event with the 4 teams that we do have, and obviously I think the focal point will be on that Central Division with Milwaukee Dive, Swede, and then to somewhat of an extent of 630 Slunkers.
Yep. So the last time Dive and Swede played was at the VLA Cup in pool play. It was a pretty crazy 5-setter, eventually won by Dive on their way to the finals of that tournament. And funny enough, Vince, because that one went to 5 and Dive couldn't win it in 4, they now have 37 points. And remember, the promotion target for the Central Division is 50 points cumulative. You can see the cumulative points on the very right side there. That includes all of VLA history so far. So Dive came into existence this year. Swede had a couple points carry over from last year, so they got 35 points this year, but had 5 from last season. You need 50 points right now in the Central Division to get offered promotion to VLA Tier 1. And funny enough, this weekend, Dive needing 13 points. It is physically impossible for them to get 13 points. The most you can play is 4 matches. The most you can get is 12 points. So one thing that we know is that Dive will not be getting promoted after this event, but it is technically possible for Swede to get 10 points out of the 12 that are possible and get promoted. And that would basically mean they would have to win the tournament, or they would have to go like 3-1 and have that one loss be in 5 sets. So it is possible for Swede to get to 50 points this week, but it's not going to be easy. And again, the teams in the field: Swede, Dive, Team ECV, and the 630 Slunkers. So Swede is the only one that can get promoted if they get 10 points this weekend. But remember that this Tier 2 championships counts as a VLA Cup tournament win if you win it. So Team ECV also has a lot on the line, because if they win this tournament, they'll have 2 cup wins. And even though the East Division, you need either 100 points or 3 cup wins, if they win this tournament, they're on the fast track to getting promoted like early next season as well. So a lot on the line here in these Tier 2 championships.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what would happen if Cleveland Team UCV does happen to take this one, being that River City Flow has a solid 14-point lead on them. And in my opinion, River City Flow is the stronger caliber team. But if Flow can put together 3 cup victories, then they're in, and you might see them just slip right through to get that promotion. But this is huge for I think mostly for either ECV or Slunkers to get the cup victory. Considering how much Dive and Sweet are, if things continue the way they are, they will be the 1 and 2 teams that do get the promotion from the Central Division. So I think Slunkers would benefit a lot from getting a cup win, and I think that Team ECV would definitely benefit from getting the cup win. Where Dive and Sweet, I think with the points, I think that they'll most likely just get in off points. I don't think that they're going to have to depend on cup wins to get in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. So a reminder that the criteria for getting promoted right now: the Central Division, 50 points cumulatively or 2 cup wins; the West and the East, 100 points cumulatively or 3 cup wins. So if Ruckus grabs another cup, they could be offered promotion again. Depends on if they want to accept that. But ECV has made it pretty clear to us, at least as far as I know, that they are interested in getting promoted really as soon as possible. And there's a lot of approaches that we've talked about in Tier 2 this year. ECV kind of going for quality over quantity. They brought they were pretty bad at the Central Division Cup in Chicago, finishing dead last, although there were some bright spots there. Then they totally retooled, went to Buffalo, won the tournament. And at the VLA Cup, they got to the second round before, who did they lose to? I don't remember. They beat Sport Connects and then lost to, dang it, I don't remember. Northeast Force. That's right. So and that ECV team was good. They just had a problem where they lost to the Rising Tide. Like the first match of the weekend, couldn't quite find their feet fast enough, and then they had just a really hard road through the bracket. But this ECV team is going to be really good, and the roster that I have for this weekend is that this is their guys, like Connor Martin at setting, who's the MVP in Buffalo. His brother Sean Martin at libero. Lots of outsides: Anthony Winter, Lee Smith, Aiden Albrecht. A ton of ballers there. Michael Krieg, Kyle Mars, both at opposite, and then Joe Bortak, Alex Carpenter, Zach Arrington in the middles. Like, that's Team ECV, and that team can definitely win this tournament.
That team, that is a great looking team, and exactly like you said, they kind of fumble a little bit in Angola, and unfortunate for them because they could have gobbled up a handful of points there, I think. But once they lost and then had to play for that fourth place in the Pool A, I think that kind of really set them back in having to play a tough road to get to. They only ended playing 4 matches for the tournament, where some of the teams, like for example, Flow, ended up playing 7. So
Yeah.
So some of the teams benefited a lot from getting that, even though they didn't win the pool. Like for example, Dive definitely, as well as they played, maybe should have, if they had the same route as Swede, who knows what could have happened, but
Who knows?
not to.
They would have had to go through the Chicago Icemen a little earlier, which I mean we saw they were able to get past them in the semifinals anyway. But yeah, lots of fun
Lots of
strategy there,
hearsay there, but yeah,
very
and
much
so
so.
yeah, and so I think ECV's got their roster looks phenomenal, and that's what ECV I think is going to be their established core for the future right there. I think
Agree.
that's something, and that's a great start to build off of for a team that put themselves together only 4 months ago. I don't think that they were ready to go. I don't think they even established themselves until February. I think that they were one of the later teams to jump into the league, even with the idea or the concept of a team. So the fact that they have been able to accomplish all that they've had in such a short amount of time, where I feel like Dive, Sweet, and Slunkers all have really had some time to build and to kind of market themselves and things like that. I think ECV's done an amazing job just jumping into it.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Good question from Mikey, my friend Mikey in Ottawa, who I had the pleasure of meeting last weekend at Volleyball Nations League up in Canada. His question is, can a team get promoted midway through the season? So, like, if Swede this weekend doesn't get to 10 points, then like what happens next year with the race to get to 50 there in the Central? So that's a very good question, Vince. How exactly is that going to work?
Well, see, that's one of the things is that the VLA board definitely wants a third team and a little bit more symmetry amongst the divisions. Having two teams in the Central Division has been exciting for sure, but we definitely want that third team in the league, right? So if Swede doesn't earn the promotion this weekend, which they are the only team that could possibly do it. It's going to come to some decision making from the VLA board on how we want to proceed with the potential of that. But I don't think that it's not a midway through season joint. It's just very impractical to create a regular season for a professional sports league with a team entering halfway through the year.
Right.
So that definitely won't be the case. It's not one of those things where if Dive and Sweet are both at 48 and then they play in the West Division Cup, then we say, okay, one of you got 2 points, so good job, you're in. Like it just doesn't make that doesn't make sense. But we definitely want a third team in the Central Division, and so we will kind of take a look at that based off of what happens with this event, and we'll kind of go from there. But best of luck to Sweet right now and putting us in this position. Um, but I mean, they gotta get those 10 points. But we'll see what happens. We have a lot of exciting things from the VLA side moving forward with Tier Two. We'll be announcing after the Tier Two championships. We're really excited about it. And yeah, we'll see how the progression goes. It's something we're not exactly prepared to announce, but right now we're gonna go ahead and give Swede that opportunity to get that promotion without any what ifs for next season.
Yeah, if they get 10 points this weekend, they're in. And it's that simple. Here's an idea. I don't know if this is feasible, practical, or anything. Let's say Swede and Dive both get to 49, right? Let's say they're dead tied at the end of the weekend with 49. They're both 1 point away. Can we set up like one do or die match between the two during the off season for like 1 point, which we do have tier two matches in the off season that are worth 1 point for exhibitions if you win them. If they're tied at 49, we get them. I don't know. We get them in Chicago for a weekend and we have them play for it. How about that? That would be pretty intense.
There's a lot of possibilities that we may float out there. I'm not gonna say yeah, we'll do that. I mean, maybe we'll bring it to a beer pong tournament. I don't know. But yeah, we got to make that decision after we see what happens with this weekend. We can't. I don't want to let Sweet off the hook. They need to go qualify. So,
Yeah, they need to go qualify.
they gotta get that promotion, and so we'll see what happens. But I wish Sweet definitely the best of luck in this one, and especially since I gotta point this one out. Jordan pointed it out to me that in our match against them, technically that first set isn't over because we won 24-23. There was an
That
error at the
I saw that as well. Yeah, I heard about
I,
that.
yeah, he pointed that out to me, and I felt to myself, I was just like, man, of all the other teams that I would have no problem with that error happening to in my favor, it definitely wasn't Swede that I wanted it to happen to. But yeah, that's I mean that's unfortunate, but yeah, sorry about that, Jordan. But yeah, so now he's got his work definitely cut out for himself. He should have won the next three sets.
Yeah, right. So speaking of Swede, their roster coming in for this weekend is mostly the same, but a couple key differences. So they brought in Jack McGuire, George Coogan for VLA Cup, both out of Dominican, who are both awesome. Both those guys will be quite busy this weekend because they and their head coach Doug Burchett from Dominican and Chicago are going down to Brazil on this like really cool Division 3 like kind of all-star team that's going down to Brazil and playing a bunch of volleyball down there, which is an amazing opportunity. But unfortunately, Swede will be without those two guys. So Jordan Smith, actually the only setter on the roster this weekend, but they did pick up Ethan Carroll, who's like a 6'8" opposite from McKendry, who will be a very adequate replacement on the right side. He is a huge pickup. Plus, like Chris Bulava, Ethan Klosak on the left, Mike Boduk, Ting Robbins, Boris Oliverich in the middle, and then all three of their liberos, including the return of Eric Krzak. So other than missing Jack McGuire, I think that this Swede lineup is about as good as it can get. And Ethan Carroll, the pickup, is a huge one.
Yeah, one of the things I like to point out about Swede, and I've said this analogy before, is that with Jordan running his offense and running his team, I mean Jordan compared to the next guy on Swede as a setter, if they go to Team Pineapple, Jordan's probably not the guy, right? It's the next guy. But when Jordan runs his team with Swede, there's just something a little bit more fluid. I guess it's more their personality a little bit, and so I think that puts them in a pretty solid situation. And their most successful tournament still was the Central Division Cup, in which Jordan took them to the finals in a five-setter that I still think should have won that match
I
against
think
Rutgers.
they should have
So,
won that match against Ruckus totally, and
and
then that would change everything about this tournament too. Like the both Swede and Dive made it to the finals of Cup tournaments. It couldn't quite get him done. It's pretty crazy.
yeah, absolutely. And so I think that Swede is in a good position right here. I know that Jordan's looking for that other guy to help them, maybe even get them over the cusp, whatever you want to call it. But I think that Jordan puts them in a very good place to possibly win this tournament.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so we'll talk about the format of the tournament really quickly, but I want to talk about the other two teams first. So Milwaukee Dive, we've gotten to know them really well. They made that ridiculous run all the way to the finals at the VLA Cup before losing to Emiola. I think you and I, Vince, are on the same page about the fact that Tyler Wills is the most underrated player in the entire league anywhere ever. That dude is just ridiculous. We sung his praises after the VLA Cup for sure, but this Milwaukee roster has pretty much everyone, at least from what I'm looking at. And the question really for me is the fact that Ryan Coonan is on the roster. Is he going to play? Because if he does, he's a Milwaukee kid. Had an incredible career at Lewis. Just finished winning the second division in Poland this year, and he's headed to the Netherlands next year to play pro. He's an outside at 6'9". If he shows up, total game changer for Dive. You put him either across from Tyler Wills, or even you could put him on the right side. And like either of those two things would make Dive the immediate favorite to win this tournament if Coonan's there. So I'm very curious to see if they can recapture that run that they made with a lot of the same new faces. But like we were saying, really their one kind of weakness was a consistent right side presence. So if they get Coonan, honestly, I would put him on the right, set him high balls, and that makes Dive the favorites right away.
Yeah, I mean the key for Dive is you don't want to take anything away from their defense, right?
Yeah,
So
their identity.
right, and that's where Chandler and Tyler really. I've never seen more balls dug out of position six in a match than I did against, honestly, against the Emiola match, because they were picking up everything. That's what got them back in the game, and I'm not saying that Coonan won't, but if he's on the right side, he's an outside hitter. He can play defense on the right, and that even just brings that up better. you're improving your defense on probably the best defense in the VLA Cup at that point. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think that that's really where the focus of uh, what they could do. I mean, I think that that gives them a huge advantage, and we'll see. I mean, obviously, guys are listed on rosters and have a tendency to be only there for maybe a match, maybe a day, some things like that. So hopefully hopefully they have the full lineup. But that's to be seen. But I definitely think that they do go into this as the overall favorites after what they did at VLA Cup. And if anyone out there hasn't seen what they did, ESPN Plus goes VLA Cup. It's on there. Two
Still
matches.
there. Still watch it.
And right now I have full confidence in saying that Milwaukee Dive is the best team in the Central Division, Tier 1 or Tier 2.
Really? Okay. I mean, the results definitely back that up. I mean, they're what are they, 2-1 against the Chicago Icemen this year? So it's difficult to argue against that.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and I guess we move on to the 630 Slunkers here.
Yeah, last but not least, the Slunkers. They have the deepest roster by far. They have 18 guys listed with it, which is a huge number. But they had the most disappointing VLA Cup for sure. I think they finished dead last, if I'm not mistaken. I think they lost a consolation game to Sport Connect, so they did not have a particularly good outing. Even though we've seen them have good outings this year. Like in the year, they started at the West Division Cup, going all the way to third, beating you guys, Vince, along the way. And then they were reasonably good at the Chicago tournament, the Central Division Cup, but didn't finish all that high there. So the only 12 points on the year, like 4-10 doesn't look all that good, but we have seen it at least a little bit, even if it was all the way back in the beginning of the year. Like I certainly wouldn't go out and pick the Slunkers to win this tournament, but they've got a lot of options. They have an identity for sure, and I'm curious to see how they match up.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with the Slunkers is that and it's not like they just went and upset Ascension like they did. They beat us in five to go to the semifinals, but right before that, they took Ruckus to five. And so, and actually, they had, I believe, two or three swings on match point in set three to sweep them. So it's one of those things where it's like they are right there as far as the competitiveness. They just need something a little more to get them over to the hump. And I think that they had a disappointing Central Division because I think that their matchups were pretty difficult. They
They
came
did
across,
have a tough road. Yeah, they played Team Pineapple twice.
yeah, the Pineapple twice, and they were playing pretty well. Not as well as they could play, but they were still playing really well. And but still going against two Tier 1 teams, or a Tier 1 team twice. And just like they ran against Ruckus twice at the West Division Cup, it's like they keep running into teams multiple times. I don't know how these pools keep working out because they're like the only team that sees the team twice in a tournament. But yeah, unfortunate that they weren't able to pull any points out of the VLA Cup because they're definitely working towards it. But I'm happy that they got the opportunity. A few of the other teams above them, they're definitely not out of place being in this championships at all. So I think
Agreed. Yeah, they're gonna play good matches for sure. They're not gonna be an easy out for any of the other three teams. They're gonna have to make them earn it like they have for every team they played against all season. I just don't think they quite have the just that starting seven's worth of elite level talent to go and win the tournament. If you can condense all 18 of their guys into seven guys, maybe their roster just in general kind of a quantity over quality look right now, just from my perspective.
yeah, no, I mean they have some dangerous weapons for sure, but is it they don't have a Tyler Wells, they don't have that the size also does kind of affect them. I mean they do have a lot of guys that are 6'3", 6'4", but they don't have that 6'7" outside hitter or even the 6'8", 6'9" middles that some of these teams, a few of the teams playing have. And so I think that that's one of the things that will play a factor in it. And but at the same time, they can come out and play, and they have an identity, which I feel like ECV is still slightly trying to find their identity. And so, I mean, there could be an upset in the making in that matchup right there. and you just never know. You get one win, and all of a sudden you can pile them on.
Absolutely. So that's the four teams: Swede, Dive, ECV, and Slunkers. The format of this tournament is really pretty simple. Everybody will play each other once. So just a round robin pool of four. That's six total matches, four on Saturday and two on Sunday morning. So everybody, each team will play three. They'll each get to play one another. Then after that, the top two ranked teams will play for the gold, and the bottom two ranked teams will play for the bronze. So eight matches this weekend, four on Saturday, starting off with ECV and Dive first thing in the morning. And then we'll play those last two matches of pool play on Sunday before we play the bronze match and then the championship match. So pretty simple format, just a pool of four. Everyone plays each other. Top two advance to play for the championship.
Yeah, I actually really like this setup right here for a tier two championship. Just the fact that everyone's going to see each other at least once. You're not going to sneak by off a favorable matchup or anything like that. And then yeah, it's just laid out there. You win your pool or take top two in the pool, and then you get the opportunity to claim that cup. So I'm really excited to see these teams battle it out. None of them are going to have to deal with any of the tier one teams in their way or anything like that, and it's just going to be good, great volleyball.
Yep, full spotlight in Tier 2 this weekend. So if you're in Chicago or Chicagoland, come on out to Crystal Lake to the Sky High Volleyball Center, totally open to spectators. And we'll be streaming them live here on YouTube for the public. So eight matches for Saturday, for Sunday, culminating in the championship match. And we'll post a schedule on that here very, very shortly. So that's it really for VLA Tier 2 championships coming up on Saturday morning. I'm really looking forward to this. I'll be there. I personally will be there Sunday only. So you get my broadcasting on Sunday, but the rest of the matches will all be streamed live on this YouTube channel for the public, or you can come and watch in person. So before we wrap up the show, I wanted to talk about the very end of the Tier 1 season, because since the last time we talked, Vince, you guys went to Long Beach, the West Division, and wrapped things up in the final division of Tier 1, and look at how competitive that is. The three teams in the West within 3 points of each other at the very end of the season. The Rising Tide end up taking the West Division with 28 points, and Sport Connect's Ascension right behind him. That makes the final playoff field as these six teams here. So LVC, the 1 seed, Icemen, the 2 seed, Rising Tide, the West Division champions, the 3 seed, followed by Bounce, Sport Connects, and Ascension. However, Sport Connects, who did earn themselves a playoff spot at 9-6 on the year with 26 points, they have ran into a lot of issues with fielding a roster. We've talked about their injuries in the show many times. They were severely affected by it at both VLA Cup and really there in Long Beach too. They will not be able to make this tournament. The Tier 1 championships going down in Chicago. What weekend is that? July 16th.
16th, 17th, yeah.
July 16th and 17th in Chicago will be the top 6 Tier 1 teams. Unfortunately, Sport Connects will not be able to be there. So Team Pineapple, despite only finishing with 22 points on the year, will get a chance to play for the Tier 1 championship. So the field for Tier 1 championships, July 16th and 17th in Chicago, LVC, Icemen, Rising Tide, Bounce, Ascension, and Team Pineapple. Those 6 teams will play for the season-long title.
Yep, absolutely. And unfortunate about Sport Connects, because I think that without the injuries, they definitely don't finish with 26 points. One of the things that we did point out earlier in the season is that we did feel that 3 of the West Division teams would probably make the playoffs. So I mean, it's kind of neat that that prediction kind of came through. Both of us kind of threw that out there, so it wasn't something that we were like, but just showed how competitive the West Division really was. But it's unfortunate for Sport Connects, but also very fortunate for Team Pineapple. I don't think Team Pineapple's not a playoff team. They definitely should be there, and especially if they have the roster that they fielded at VLA Cup. I think that they just didn't have the time to really get going. And I think that if they get a few matches, more matches, maybe some practices heading into that tournament, there's no surprise. It would be no surprise to me if a 7/6 seed could possibly win that tournament. So it's going to be one of the best tournaments that you could ask for to finish off our season. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, so are we. So everyone's getting together in my home city here in Chicago, July 16th and 17th, Tier 1 championships, those 6 teams there, but no Sport Connects means Team Pineapple gets the final playoff spot. So we'll talk about that tournament a heck of a lot more as it comes a little bit closer, just about a month from now. But this weekend, we crowned the season-long champions of Tier 2, and somebody gets a cup win that could maybe mean promotion. There are points on the line that can maybe mean promotion. So a lot of drama going on this weekend, also in suburban Chicago. So tune into Tier 2 championships, and we'll have some more detail on the website in the next day or two about this. But yeah, if you want to come in person to Sky High and Crystal Lake, we are totally welcoming spectators. So, Vince, I think that's about it, my friend. A little shorter show here, but we will be crowning a champion this weekend, giving out some hardware, and then we'll be right back in the next month to do the same thing for Tier 1.
Yep, absolutely. We're really excited about it and definitely tune in. Also, always shout out to our sponsors, Mikasas and Novice Clothing Company. Doing a great job of always keeping us looking good and playing with the best ball on the planet. And yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you Saturday morning for Tier 2 championships live here on YouTube. We will see you then.